everyone, my name is Savannah. Welcome back to my channel, and today we are building a remodeled ranch home. And as almost everyone else on YouTube, we're going with the ranch style because Sims Horse Ranch just came out a few days ago at the time of me recording this voiceover, and I'm so in love with everything that came in the pack. I feel like the Horse Ranch expansion pack matches like cottage living and that rustic feel so well, and it's one of my favorite styles to build in. As you'll see, there are many cottage builds on the channel already, and I already have ideas for future houses or cottages using only Sims for Horse Ranch, and cottage living together, because I feel like that plus, you know, a little bit of cats and dogs. There's just so many objects in the build and buy right now that complement this style, and I'm here for it. I love it. Now, as someone who really isn't into the gameplay all that much, I'm really going to be judging this pack solely based off of the build buy objects, because that's what I like to do. I like to make pretty things, and so that's what I'm jumping in to do today, and I'm really excited about all the new things that we got in the pack. I love that it's an expansion pack as well, because that just means more things. More is great. That means that we can build something completely using the Horse Ranch expansion pack almost exclusively. Now, in this build, I am using pretty much anything and everything. This house was the very first thing that I sat down to build after the pack came out, and I sat down on the day that it released, and this took me a few days to complete, a couple hours of building here and there, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. So this was really me just kind of going through and looking what was in the pack and what the different swatches looked like. So this took me quite a while, longer than it normally would take, and it's a bit bigger of a house than I normally would build. It's still a 1-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, and my idea being is that this is for not a young couple, but a younger couple, maybe like young adult. I think that they would have purchased this ranch home a while ago, and they've spent a good amount of time, money, and effort remodeling it a little bit, which is why you'll see a lot of the rustic touches. I tried to keep it along the lines of thinking that they bought this home and that they did some remodel, but mainly just like facelifts. Like they've adjusted the furniture, they've given it a little bit of paint, new landscaping, things like that. So not like a complete demolition, renovation, or anything like that, but just to bring it into a nice, like, brighter and more light and open and lighter toned woods and things like that. So at first, when I was doing the outside of the house, I had a pretty good idea about what I wanted to do, and so that's what we're working on here. I'm starting to work on landscaping, and I was trying to figure out exactly what plants I wanted to use, because I was using a reference picture where they had these really pretty tall grasses, but I didn't really find anything that replicated that in game. So I ended up going with these like more succulent type looking plants, and then using some debug items with those as well. But keeping the landscaping very simple, pretty symmetrical on both sides, and almost kind of minimal to what I usually build in The Sims 4, because I wanted it to look a little bit more, I guess, well-groomed or low maintenance, I guess, comparative to a lot of other things that I've put together, just to kind of keep with that like modern, not really like upscale, but you know, that kind of feeling with it. So I'm happy with how the landscaping turned out. I end up going with the white boards that came in Horse Ranch instead of the white paint that I have right now. I felt it gave a little bit more texture and detail to the outside of the house, because the plain white, like what I was imagining would be plain white stucco or something like that, really kind of looked a bit plain to me. So I end up using the wallpaper that came with Horse Ranch, the horizontal wood boards. I use the same thing pretty much all throughout the inside of the house as well, because I like it so much. I love the new wallpaper that came with the pack. I also end up bumping this front entryway out a little bit. I liked how it looked as it was, but it was a little bit flat in my opinion. So I end up bumping it out. I'm not quite sure when I do it. I know I do it off camera or off recording, bumping that front step out a little bit and giving it a bit of an awning. And that way it just gives a little bit more dimension to the front of the house. And it's not so flush with the main part of the house as well. But we're going to finish up the outside and jump on into the inside relatively soon, I think, as soon as I pick out some potted plants for the front patio area there. When I first go into the house, I had this vision of dark wood on the inside, because when I think old ranch house, I think like terracotta tiles and dark, rich, warm tones. And so I started with doing that, but then I got the idea of making it more of a renovated or a remodeled house. So I went ahead and changed everything out for a lighter wood tone, and I like how it looks so much better. It looks more bright, looks a little bit more youthful, I guess, young, I guess, and that's kind of what I was going for with this couple that would have moved in here and renovated it to match their style. And unlike many of the other builds that I put together, this floor plan actually came together fairly smoothly, where I really didn't have a whole lot of hiccups. It really didn't take me a whole lot of time. I was really able to kind of get everything placed where I wanted it to be relatively quickly. Now, that little area that you're seeing out the back, the little separate building, originally I was going to make like a little office. And I was thinking of maybe making the main bedroom over on that side and having the little walkway to like a little detached office area. However, then I remembered that in Horse Ranch, they have like the nectar making stuff, basically like wine making. So I thought that this couple would own some sort of vineyard or some sort of a nectar company or whatever it might be. And that's like a little like homebrew area. So I end up putting one of the little nectar machines. I forget what it's called, but it's like, I'm pretty sure they get inside them and they stomp inside of it and crush the grapes and make it all, you know, wine and whatnot. And some debug boxes in there, some barrels. And so it's just kind of like their at-home little brewing area. Maybe they test out new recipes or something like that there. I don't know. I know absolutely nothing about winemaking or nectar making in The Sims for that matter. So, but that's what I ended up making it. If you download this off the workshop, which it is available for you on the gallery, my gallery ID is YTSimplySimming. So if you do want to download this and play with it, you can very easily turn that into some sort of office with a desk and a computer if your sim is a working professional and you just want it to be, an office. You could really easily turn it into an art studio as well if your sim is very artistic and you want it to be like a little studio. It's very versatile. You can pretty much do whatever you want with it, but I just went with the nectar theme because that's, you know, we're leaning into the Horse Ranch vibes and the rusticness of that pack, so that's what I went with. But you can see here, I'm kind of starting with the living room, placing everything together. I really wanted it to seem a little, maybe slightly more modern than like fully rustic, like worn down furniture and things like that, which is another reason why I switched to the lighter wood, and I'll switch here in just a little bit. I end up using the fiddle leaf fig plant from Cottage Living in basically every single room. They have a duplicate of this plant basically everywhere. Because it's my favorite plant and I think it looks great. So please don't mind the fact that they have the exact same plant in every single room. Just my favorite plant. I absolutely love this rug that came with Horse Ranch. It has so many different swatches, but I love this kind of like tribal pattern to it. It's got that warm tone with the kind of corally pinky color, and I think it goes with the room very, very well. In here, I throw in some bookcases, which don't end up being those ones as the final one. And I also tried to keep this house a little bit less cluttered than I normally would make it. Now, prior to this build, I deleted all of my build mods. So I didn't have the red shelf installed, as well as what is it called? Better Build By to start with. I end up installing it halfway through this build to use so that I could better find some debug objects. But I decided to kind of make this, like, I say base game build in that, you know, I'm really kind of building like vanilla, I guess. And yes, I'm using better build by to better organize the objects and better find things in debug and whatnot. But I really wanted to decorate it as if you didn't have mods, like I'm not using Tool and I'm not using the red shelf to kind of place things. So this is very vanilla in that aspect because I kind of want to do some builds like that, since I know myself as a player, when I was first getting back into The Sims, I got really frustrated because I would look at everything else that people would build and I felt like my builds weren't pretty or weren't put together like theirs were. And I realized that many people that build like that are using those mods that make it a whole lot, I mean, maybe not easier unless you know how to use the tool, but, you know, they're using something that allows you to twist objects or scale up and down in particular sizes, or move things onto snapping spots easier, stuff like that. So I just wanted to see what I could do basically with more vanilla version of the game. And that way, you know, some people that aren't able to download mods can see what is possible, like on console and stuff like that. So that was kind of my idea, getting back into building, because oh boy, have I taken a break. I'm so sorry, it's been so long. Content creation for me has been a bit slower overall, but I have kind of focused on my main channel. Simply Savannah is my main channel. If you want to find me over there, we play things like cozy animal related games. So like Planet Zoo, we're playing Paleo Pines. We have an Everdream Valley playthrough going on right now, Jurassic World Evolution 2, Prehistoric Kingdom, all those kind of games are over on my main channel, and Simply Simming is here just for basically The Sims, because it's another one of my favorite games to play, and I didn't really want it on my main channel. It doesn't really fit exactly with my kind of niche over there, so I ended up coming over here and making another channel, but it had to be kind of put on the back burner for a little while because I was focusing on some main channel things, and my time recently has not been as abundant as it once was. I have not had the time for video games as I once had. Life and work have gotten in the way, all very good things, but just not things that are conducive to sitting down and playing long hours of video games and making content and putting together videos. So I really do want to focus back on this channel and hopefully get a build out maybe every other week, or at the very minimum once a month. So it's really not going to be a heavy upload schedule. I'm really not going to try to shoot for the stars or set my bar very high, because I know I won't be able to meet that. And I really don't want to get frustrated with myself, but also disappoint you all for videos like promising a schedule and not being able to meet that, basically. But I do want to get back in here and kind of refocus on Sims stuff, because it is a nice change from the other games that I like to play. So hopefully that will be able to be something that I can stand by, because I know I've said some of that before in previous videos, but hopefully it will be the case going forward. I'm working on the kitchen here, and I really like how the layout came together. I love, 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 love the new, what are those called? Counters and cabinets that came with Horse Ranch. Now they look really similar to some of the other, why am I forgetting the word? Counters and cabinets that came with other packs. They're just a little bit more worn, I guess. Like they kind of look like the Jungle Adventure ones, a little more rustic than that. But I liked this swatch that basically had like a butcher block top to the countertops. And I liked the kind of light color of the wood. I thought it complemented the rest of the room very well. And then using a lot of the lights that came with Horse Ranch, it gives a very like warm glow to all the rooms. And so I really like how it turned out. This house actually has a lot of space in it. I was kind of surprised with how much space actually was in the house itself, particularly in the kitchen and dining area. So I ended up doing both a dining room, like a formal dining room, you can see that we're working on here, but also doing like a little, like smaller dining area, like a breakfast nook kind of thing over in the kitchen. just because I had the space and I wasn't quite sure what to put there. So I don't think that this sim couple has children yet, but thinking that they might just like to entertain a lot. So maybe when it's just them, they sit at the little breakfast area, or in the evenings, they sit at their island and have a glass of nectar, something like that. But then they like to have friends over, and then they can throw, more formal dining parties in their formal dining room. They have plenty of spaces. What is that? 6, 7, 8 seats at the formal dining table. So nice long table. They can really accommodate a lot of their friends. So that was my thought process behind that. Plus, I really wanted to do a formal dining area with kind of like this little sidebar area. I ended up not using the little wine cases. I end up putting it on the other wall and kind of keeping this wall a little bit more decorative and simple. But lots of room for entertaining, lots of room for having friends over. I did not play test this build. I apologize. At one point, I loaded a sim in to play test it, and I had the sim sleep in the bed, and then I forget what happened, but I had to stop playing, and then I never came back to it. So I apologize. Hopefully things work as intended, and kind of go smoothly if you do want to download this and play with it. I'm pretty sure everything is reachable since I really didn't do anything too crazy as far as the layout and placing objects. So I do hope that it's all playable for you. If you guys have made it this far in the video and you're enjoying, I'm going to do that YouTube-y thing where I'm going to remind you to hit the like button and leave a comment down below, as well as hit the subscribe button if you are enjoying the video at all, because I really do appreciate the support. And with my infrequent upload schedule, it'll really help me out, and I do appreciate it. So I'm trying to be better about being a good content creator and saying that stuff not at the very end of the video, sneaking it somewhere. I mean, I kind of am halfway through the video, so I kind of failed again, but it's supposed to be in the first half of the video, and trying to remember that. So I used the rug there from the Industrial Loft kit. I really thought it brought a lot of the colors throughout the room together onto the rug. It was a pretty good size and fit that table. I wanted to use the table from Horse Ranch. This one's actually from My Wedding Stories, but the one from Horse Ranch didn't have as plain of a swatch as I was looking for, unfortunately. The table runner on the one from Horse Ranch has a lot of pattern on it, and I really wanted something a little bit more plain. So this one from My Wedding Stories has a plain white runner, and I felt like with all the other patterns in the room, with the rug and then the cow print on the chairs, it really needed to be something more subtle and not quite so out there or loud, I guess. And so that's why I went with that dining table in the end. But I was trying to use as much of the Horse Ranch stuff as I possibly could, given this is my first build with the pack. I also place some dog things because in my mind, anybody that's around ranches or vineyards or, farms or anything like that, they always have dogs. And I've always had dogs. So I kind of relate to building houses that have spots for pets, because I've always had pets myself, pets and plants. So that's pretty much what I incorporate in almost all of my builds. But yeah, so I envision they either have 1 or 2 dogs. So I put the little bowls there in the dining room, and then I end up putting a dog bed in the bedroom as well, so that there's somewhere for the dog to sleep alongside the sim when they go to sleep. This is the little breakfast nook. I'm taking those little kind of bench objects from Horse Ranch, putting 2 of them together and using that as kind of the seat in front of the window. I think this would be a perfect little place for 1, breakfast, because it's called like a breakfast nook, but 2, like sitting down in front of the window and reading a book or something like that. Really nice little cozy kind of informal space. Or if they just have like 1 friend over and they want to hang out, they can hang out right there instead of going into the formal dining space, something like that. Took me forever to figure out what rug to put under there because it's kind of a weird shaped little area, but I'm pretty sure I end up falling on this one from Cats and Dogs anyway, in the end. I'm pretty sure that's the one that I leave. But the main packs that I'm using for this build are going to be Cats and Dogs and Horse Ranch, of course, and then also Cottage Living. those are the kind of 3 packs that I think really go well together. Now, I do use random things throughout the build, especially in debug. So all of the packs and stuff that I use in the build are listed down in the description below, as they always are. I try to list what I use in the description on every build, so that way you can see what is incorporated into the build. Now, I keep saying it over and over again, but my next build is going to be a limited pack build. I'm determined. I want to see if I can do just a base game and horse ranch build, just using those 2 packs together. Because the Sims 4 packs can get rather expensive, and I know many people don't have everything. So I really want to see what I can do with only those 2 packs. And, you know, it's a bit of a challenge for me to see if I can incorporate just those things within a build. Moving on to the bedroom here, and you can see I was fiddling with the roof. I haven't quite figured out exactly how it works, but I love that we can paint roofs, or ceilings now, not roofs. We can paint ceilings now. I think it is fantastic, and it was that little kind of detail that we were missing for a long time in The Sims 4. Having just plain white ceilings is very, very boring. So I'm very excited to see that they brought that into the game. And I believe that was a base game update as well. So you don't have to have Horse Ranch in order to utilize that. So it gives that nice little touch, I think, within the build. So I did color a lot of the ceilings in a few of the different rooms. But this bedroom coming together very nicely. I'm really happy with how it turned out, using the pillars and what is that called? It's not scaffolding. The beams across the ceiling. I forget what those are called, but they're beams across the ceiling to give a little bit more detail up there as well when you're kind of looking around from a first person's perspective. Of course, if you are playing this and looking from top down, you're really not going to see that a whole lot, but I thought it gave a nice little detail for things like screenshots and stuff. We're working on the bathroom here, and there's not much to say about it. It's a very simple little bathroom using the same countertops as I did in the kitchen. Black is a recurring theme throughout the entire build, like black metal. So it's basically black metal and wood tones is really what I use throughout this entire build. And I'm trying to keep it, like I said before, a little bit less cluttered, but I do throw a few things on this bathroom counter just to make it look just slightly more lived in, but not too overboard. I think these Sims are not very messy, and they're inclined to keep their house fairly tidy since they do have people over all the time. But this bathroom does have a door both to the bedroom and to the main living area, so it is technically a master bedroom, but also has a door on the outside. That way people don't have to walk through the bedroom in order to get to the bathroom. The very first apartment that I ever moved into, actually, it was the most annoying thing. It was a 1-bedroom apartment, but it was a master bedroom apartment, meaning that anybody that came over to my house had to walk through my bedroom to get to the bathroom because there was no other entrance to it. So whenever I had friends over, depending on how close the friends were, I always had to clean up my bedroom, and that way I wouldn't be embarrassed with laundry all over the place or just, mess in general as they walked through to go to the bathroom. Of course, my real close friends, I didn't really care, and I kind of kept it messy because, they know who I am. They were going to be my friends regardless. But if I had a lot of people over and stuff like that, I always had to clean up my bedroom, and I was not a fan. I didn't like it very much. So I wanted to make sure I didn't replicate that with this build so that people can, imagining that they entertain a lot, that they don't have to walk through the master bedroom in order to get to the bathroom. That way they have just a little bit more privacy, and they can kind of maybe hide laundry or hide things that are kind of a mess in the bedroom, and guests don't have to witness that. Working on the little nectar area here. Now I'm pretty sure this came with Horse Ranch. Correct me if I'm wrong, please, because again, I don't really play gameplay a lot, but I was pretty sure this little nectar making thingamajig came with Horse Ranch, but maybe not now that I'm thinking about it. Maybe it came with Cottage Living? I don't really remember, but I really like all the debug objects that surround kind of nectar making, all those little bins and boxes and things like that, little barrels. absolutely love it. So I kept that fairly undetailed. It's kind of more like a workspace. So I just, put things in there like a little storage area and stuff like that for the different nectars they would be making, and kind of left it at that. Now, the very last thing that I'm going to do is the backyard area. Now, these people are going to be kind of more outdoorsy people, so I am using those raised planter beds from the debug menu and kind of deciding where the backyard is going to be right now. I end up not using that fence. I love it and I really wanted to use it, but I really thought that their backyard area would be somewhere with a little bit more privacy, and that fence doesn't really offer a whole lot of privacy. So I end up using another fence, and I don't really remember what pack it was from. I totally forget now. And anyway, I was gonna put a little fireplace back here, like a little campfire, but I ended up getting rid of that and just going with like a seating area because I felt like, yes, they would like their outdoor space and whatnot, but I don't foresee them sitting around a campfire a whole lot. I foresee them sitting outside with a glass of wine and some cheese and maybe some grapes and things like that, and just kind of having a relaxing evening in the outdoor space. So this is the one moment once I find it. This is the fence that I end up using. A little bit more privacy, tall fence. That way they don't have to see their neighbors, or their neighbors can't see in. And then just putting very simple landscaping, just kind of mimicking the front yard space where it's not too overgrown. It's pretty well kept and pretty simple, pretty low maintenance as well, I imagine. I imagine maybe these Sims do have someone like a gardener come and take care of their landscaping for them, but something that's still low maintenance means that they have to have that person come out infrequently. Now, I believe I do end up swapping these for the horse ranch benches as well, like the wooden bench that I've used on the little walkway from the kitchen to the nectar making room. And then just using the coffee table for a little seating space. And then I end up putting a little bottle of wine and some glasses out on the table as if they were out there kind of hanging out, using these little fairy lights for just a bit of detail and lighting. And I love how it turned out. I am really happy with this build. It's been the build that for a first time in a long time, I was able to kind of sit down and do this all, not in one sitting, but it kind of came to me pretty easily. I was able to kind of put this together fairly quickly. Overall, the build took me about 4 hours or so, and I think I did it in 3 different building kind of sit downs, so fairly quickly for me. I'm not the world's fastest builder. I'm definitely still trying to get to know what pieces are in the game because I took a long break from The Sims 4. I played when The Sims 4 first came out. I mean, I played when Sims 1 first came out, and I played 2 and 3 and now 4. But I took a really long break, and so I don't have that kind of muscle memory of what items are where just yet. So I'm trying to get that back as I build more and more. And then I totally forgot. We go back into the kitchen and we do a little bit more detailing, a little bit more cluttering, I guess, adding some things to these shelves that I ended up putting in. I really like how the layout of the cabinets in the kitchen turned out. I like a combination of closed cabinets and open shelves, just to give a bit of interest and detail of what you're looking at. You know, of course, some wine bottles in the kitchen because that's also a recurring theme. We got an espresso maker because I believe anybody that likes wine also drinks coffee in the morning, right? You kind of need it to kind of wake yourself up after a night of drinking wine. I definitely don't know that from personal experience or anything, but putting that in the kitchen because I imagine that's what these Sims would like. Putting some dog treats on the counter as well because the dogs in the family are just that. They're part of the family, very important. So I imagine these Sims would have stuff, readily available for their dogs as treats and toys and things like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. We've only got a couple more minutes left of the build. Thank you guys so much for watching. I do appreciate you as always. There are some pretty little glamour shots at the very end, some screenshots, and if you want to see more, you can follow me on either Twitter or Instagram. Those are the 2 platforms that I utilize the most for this Simply Simming channel. Again, all of those things are down in the description below. There's links to absolutely everywhere, including the Discord. So if you want to come over, hang out, chat about The Sims, or share screenshots or inspiration, or talk about any of the other games that we cover on my main channel, you can do so there as well. It's just kind of a nice place to hang out and make friends and chat and ask questions and share inspiration and that kind of stuff. So as we finish up the build here, that's really all I have for you. It's a little bit of a longer one. When I sat down to build this, I thought, it'll be like a 20-minute video, 15-minute maybe tops. Ended up being a 30-minute video. So if you're still here, know that I appreciate you, and thank you so much. Until next time, enjoy the screenshots at the end, and I will talk at you in the next video. Bye!